Yep, really good. Video is clear as well. Beautiful. Wonders of modern technology.
Perfect. All right, thanks everybody for coming along. So we had a few technical issues, namely my computer decided to crash at like 5 minutes to go time. So apologies. A lot of that was my fault, plus some teething issues, but I think we're good to go, aren't we, Benny?
Certainly are, mate. Ready to crack into this because there's some great information in this one tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This was something I get questions about all the time. Every time I mention it to clients or friends even, they just got no clue that you can even do this sort of stuff. So I'm looking forward to getting into it and showing people what's actually possible.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of myths and hype and rubbish around Facebook, I suppose, and you get a lot of. It's one of my pet hates. You know, you've heard me rant on and on and on about this. You're probably sick of it, but people say all the time, "Oh, you know, Facebook don't show my posts anymore." And I did a talk a while back, and I spoke particularly about this, about Facebook not showing your posts, and I said, "There's something that you need to do. I'm going to tell you what it is right now because it would be remiss of me not to tell you, and that is get over it. It's not going to change. Facebook is an advertising platform, and they want to sell advertising space. So you're going to have to pay to advertise on there. You can't just, you're not going to get free advertising off of them forever. Those days are over. They're gone. Forget about them. So you can do one or two things. You can moan about it and say, oh, it's unfair, you know, and all the rest of it, or you can take advantage of it. And what we're going to show you tonight is how to take advantage of it from as little as $1 per day. And then if you can't put $1 a day into your advertising, seriously, pack your shop up tomorrow morning because you ain't going to stay in business very long. That's the way I look at it. What about yourself? I'm a little bit blunt to the point, I suppose, but how do you see it?
Yeah, exactly, and I think we'll rant about that a little bit more, Benny, as we go. So firstly, I think I just want to introduce a little bit about what we're going to do here tonight. Obviously, we're sort of two parts. I think the first part will sort of talk a little bit about Facebook, and for those of you who don't sort of use Facebook much, and kind of why it's so important, like Benny was just alluding to there, to actually look at advertising as an option rather than just sort of try to jump on board and get everything for free out of Facebook, and also why it's so much better than traditional. In our opinion, why it's so much better than traditional advertising. And then we're just going to go through and show you the nuts and bolts of how you actually do this stuff. And it really is much more simple than you think. And honestly, anyone can do it as long as you can send an email, hopefully. Facebook have made it as easy as they possibly can to take your money, let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can do it, anyone can do it. There's hope for everyone.
Exactly. Okay, so I think we went through a few working titles. The title we've got is How to Advertise Your Facebook on Facebook to More of the Right People for as little as $1 per day. And I think we're really going to deliver on that tonight. And we're going to try and keep it as short as possible, really, so you don't get overwhelmed. And we'll just sort of kick into it, get going. Ben, what do you reckon?
Yep, definitely, mate. Let's crack into it.
Okay, first up, Benny, who are you?
Who am I? That's a good question. Look, I got into marketing probably, I don't know, 5 years ago, I suppose, via a thing called The Challenge. And if you've never seen or heard of The Challenge, I'd highly recommend you get hold of it. I think it'll start, I think, normally in about August. And that's some of the best online marketing training that you'll ever get. My background is not advertising or marketing or anything else. I left school when I was 15. I barely passed English. I was an English teacher. I was actually quite happy to see the backside of me when I left. But I'm a boilermaker by trade, and I learned to do all this stuff. And that's the point that I always try to bring across is if I can learn this stuff, everyone else can as well. A lot of people say, you know, you don't understand, it's hard for me and all the rest of it. I couldn't use a computer when I left school. As I say, I barely passed English. If you want to get in and learn this stuff, the tools are there, the training's there online. You can take it and use it. And you'll get results. I'm proof of it. So that's enough about me, mate. What about yourself? You've got a lot better background in it than I
have. No, that's good. Thanks, Benny. So, yeah, I mean, the thing about Benny, actually, just I want to quickly touch on is that he's used to running tens, if not hundreds, of guys on the job as a tradie. But you get some pretty good results from some of the clients that he just picks up and just gives them a little bit of nugget of information, and all of a sudden they can doubling or tripling their advertising revenue. So he kind of knows what he's talking about when it comes to this. As for myself, I'm Alistair Ball. I run for those of you who don't know, a web design and marketing company here with my wife, who's also a graphic designer, and we deal mainly with small to medium-sized businesses, and I've been doing web for many years now. But for me, out of the two of us, I suppose I'm the slightly more technical guy, but really for me, the marketing is the fun stuff. It's the interesting stuff that actually gives people the result rather than you've got a nice flash-looking website. So that's a little bit about me. Some of the best things I've done is to run other businesses where I can take what they're doing and just with a few little tweaks, all of a sudden they'll be making plenty more money with their advertising, from their advertising, and sort of, I think the best I've done is sort of doubled some income over a couple of years for a business. So pretty happy with that sort of result. Right, let's kick straight into it, Beanie.
Righto. Social media is kind of a big deal. Yeah, well, it is.
For those of you who've been under a rock for the last 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. If you think, I remember years ago, I went to a meeting a few years back, and it was a business breakfast type thing, and I was talking to someone about Twitter, because Twitter was one of the things that I cut my teeth on, and it's an awesome platform to actually learn to use social media on. And the guy was saying to me, he said, "Oh, what do you do?" I said, at that time, I hadn't even really got onto Facebook, and I said, "I use Twitter and YouTube." And he goes, Twitter. He said, that's just a fad, that won't hang around, will it? And I said, yeah, I think they're talking about going back to horse and carts as well, mate, But all of these new medias, who knows how long they're going to be around for. But the thing is, they're popular at the moment, and the people are on there, and it's like what Ed Dale talks about, mate. You got to go and meet your market where they are, don't you? You got to find out which platform your market's on, and go and present your stuff in front of them, don't you, basically?
Exactly. It was sort of tongue-in-cheek with that slide when I made it. Basically, everyone knows all about social media now. We're not having to convince people that social media is a good idea or not. It's a bit of a silly thing to think about, but remember, it wasn't that long ago people were complaining about it and thinking, oh, do I have to put any effort into it? Just a couple of, we're going to talk specifically about Facebook, obviously, because we're talking about advertising, and I just wanted, because I just looked up these stats today, and they just blow me away. 1.31 billion active users on Facebook. That's every month at least on Facebook. So that's kind of a big market, and specifically for Australia and New Zealand, 13.2 million people in Australia and 2.6 million of us here in New Zealand, which is both of that's. What's the population in Australia now, Beanie?
Oh, don't ask me hard questions like that. I have to Google it.
Well, it's well over half of the population anyway, and same here for New Zealand. So we're massive usership here in New Zealand and Australia. So the only reason I bring that up really is to show that if you've got a client base at all, probably a lot of them, if not most of them, are already on Facebook.
Yeah, definitely.
But there is one big problem, and everyone will know that if it's been on Facebook for a few years for using your business on Facebook, the big problem is that the posts that you're making to your business fan page are being seen by fewer and fewer people. In fact, I saw a post that I made the other day, and I couldn't believe this because it was an excellent link to a great piece of information, and it got seen by 13 people, which is just enough to pull your hair out. Exactly. So that's a major problem that we're running into, and that's just to what you were talking before, Beanie, that everyone's complaining that all of a sudden no one's actually watching this stuff. No one's seeing the posts and all the time and hard work and effort that you're putting into finding good stuff or creating good content isn't actually going anywhere on Facebook with organic posts. In fact, the average post is only seen by about 16% of the fans for that page. That's straight from Google, that stat, so not even I can complain about that. Of course, there are some pages will be getting much higher than that, and some pages that might get 1% or 2%, but that's the average. That's all we can work with, really.
Yeah. Look, it really depends on what you do and what your business is about. My wife's, her art page, it just goes through the roof. When she posts on it, she complains when she only gets like 10 comments and 15 likes. There's only 800 people on the page, and you and I could work a week for that. There'd be weeks where you wouldn't get that many comments, you know? Like you're talking about, you find awesome pieces of content and you post it up there and just absolutely nothing happens. But it's a different sort of it's because hers is art, it's very visual. And, you know, it does tend to get a lot of likes and a lot of comments and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that happens when you're posting. When you're talking about you posted to only 13 people saw it the other day. The amount of times that I've gone and spoken to someone when I've been out and about and they went, oh, I saw your post about such and such on Facebook, or I watched your video on Facebook the other day, and I've got no idea that they've even watched it, you know, because they don't. It's not something that there's enough emotion behind, I suppose, if you like, to get them to like or comment. So, it's, you know, when you're posting stuff up, it is about doing this consistently, posting your stuff, and we're going to talk about advertising and how to increase that engagement that way. But consistency as well, you know, you can't beat it. People will see your stuff, and they do watch your stuff and listen to your stuff even when you don't know about it.
Exactly. Right, let's get into the advertising side of things, though, because the solution is Facebook advertising, where you can boost your posts and actually guarantee that your posts, especially the ones that you've spent all that time and effort in, are actually being seen by more people, and especially when you want the people to actually do stuff. So let's just jump straight into it. Yep. There's a problem, though. Advertising's expensive, right?
Yeah, well, it depends where you do it. I'm going to talk a little bit later. I'm going to tell you a story about a bloke who advertised in a magazine, then we're going to talk about why we did the same thing on Facebook. So advertising is expensive, depending on where you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got 4 things here. There's plenty of things that make a difference, really, but that I personally like about advertising over just going for organic traffic through Facebook. And we've got them up here on the slide. Faster. Basically, you're paying for time rather than you can get 1,000 people to see your post organically, but it's going to take you a long time. Whereas if you just pay for it relatively cheaply, you can get a whole bunch of people seeing your stuff really quickly. Great for testing stuff rather than having to wait for feedback to come. Definitely. Second thing is targeted, and we're really going to talk about targeting when we get to the nuts and bolts of this thing. But this is probably where the magic happens for Facebook, especially. But even for traditional advertising, you can target by putting ads into a specific newspaper to reach one group of people, or into a magazine if you want to reach another group of people. So targeting advertising you can do is much more targeted than just hoping for referrals or just natural people passing your name on.
Yep.
Okay, so we've also got repeatable. If you find something which is actually working to bring you business, you can just do it again with a few clicks of a button on Facebook or another online stuff. And obviously, if you're running ad in the newspaper, you can just run the same ad again, and it's going to get you the same or very similar results, hopefully, than what you got the first time. And lastly is leverage. Leverage, you're not having to spend time doing the same thing again and again and again. Pay for it, and it just does the job for you.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments on any of those, Benny?
Yeah, mate, you pretty well nailed the big 4 with it. And it's quick. I've talked about it before. You can test something. You can run an ad tonight and test and see if you get an opt-in. You can have email opt-ins by the morning. In fact, I did it just the other night. As you say, for targeting, man, Facebook know way too much about you. Eh? They know more about it than your missus does. So, you know, from that perspective, you cannot beat it. You really can't beat it.
Exactly.
There's a few other things that you've got here as well versus your traditional media, and we're giving traditional media a bit of a hiding. We still do use traditional media, just we're using less and less of it and you're doing more and more with Facebook. It's quicker. As I say, you can have results back within hours, basically, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. These days you can have an ad up there and running within 10 or 15 minutes, and it might even be given the okay from Facebook, and it's running. People are seeing it straight away. From concept to actually running, literally can be just a few minutes, and then you're getting the results, and that leads into the next one where you can actually measure those results and see what's happening with the ad, whether people are liking it or not, as opposed to running an ad in the newspaper for $200 or $300 or the radio for that matter, and then having to wait for, firstly wait until the newspaper's published in 2 or 3 or 4 days time, and then having to wait and see if people are actually going to give you the call after that. Much easier just to throw it up on Facebook, and you can. It shows you specifically the result, and shows you exactly how many people have seen it, how many have clicked it, and what sort of results you're getting from your money.
Yep. They're more effective, way more effective, because you can put a specific, you can test, you can mix this up so much. It's not like you went in the old days where you went to the Yellow Pages and you threw one ad in and you hoped and pray for the next 12 months people would come from that ad. If you throw one ad up today and it doesn't work, you change the headline, you change the text, change the photo out. You can change it around as many times as you like. So from an effective point of view, it's unbelievable. And this last one, the payment options, there's an option now, or it's not new, but it's been around for a little while. Not a lot of people have used it. Haven't even used it myself a lot. Called website conversions. And basically what happens is Facebook give you a little bit of code and you paste that into your page, which is the one after when someone bought. So say your thank you page. You go to them and say, I'm willing to pay X amount of dollars for you to get people to my thank you page, which means they've actually made a sale for you. And you only pay for those people once they've got to your thank you page. Now, there's a few caveats in there, as in Facebook has to say, yeah, I can get buyers to you for that price. But basically, that's the only advertising that I know of where you can make a sale and then go and pay for the advertising afterwards if the advertising actually works. Have you got any newspapers or magazines over there that offer that, mate?
Not that I know of yet. I just want to have one more comment on cheaper. Like, I actually did some figures today, so I thought, I'm going to say it's cheaper, so I should probably work it out. And admittedly, I've just ran this on some campaigns that I know of personally, and they could vary a lot. And even my ones do vary a lot. But I took sort of average campaigns, and I compared it to what it would cost to run in the local newspaper. And all I did was compare the number of people that you're reaching. And the local newspapers here, they reckon they go to 18,000 houses and X number of people reading from there. Anyway, once I did the figures and I boiled it all right down, my figures showed that Facebook advertising was about 1/10 of the cost. This is on a per people actually seeing the ad. It's about 1/10 of the cost of running a newspaper ad. I didn't do it on radio or anything like that, but that was, again, these are rough figures. Don't take these as gospel or anything, but yeah, about 1/10 of the cost or less. Actually, it's just slightly less on my figures. So I mean, it is ludicrously cheap, and it's even better than that. But I think we'll leave that, the targeting, etc., until we get to the nuts and bolts part of it again.
Yep. Cool.
Okay, so the important thing about advertising is you really need to have a goal. Then this actually goes for advertising across the board, and it always amazes me the number of people that just set a certain amount of money to spend each month, and they just spend it and don't really have a think about what's happening to their advertising. But for Facebook in particular, you really need to have a goal for the advertising and what you're expecting to get for your money, essentially. So there's two options. Firstly, which is essentially just branding, so it's just keeping in front of your fans so that they know that you're around. It's essentially just branding, and I know Benny and I were kind of direct response guys at heart, but I think with Facebook, and again I'll talk about this a little bit later on why, it's a great option to actually continually show people your face and your name and your business for essentially next to nothing, just in the process of running the rest of your ads. And it's just so dirt cheap, like we'll show you shortly. For $1 a day, you can just keep making sure you're contacting not only just your friends, but other people who aren't your fans yet. Likers, sorry, I still call them fans. I know they're likers these days, but
I'd do that a lot, just with even stuff that I'm not even trying to sell. Like if it's someone's done a really good quote, or if I think it's something that's going to add value to my market, I'll even use that what you're talking about there.
Yeah, exactly. So you're sort of building your reputation rather than necessarily your just your logo brand. But anyway, we can argue about that all night, I know, Ben. So the next option is to get some form of response. So that might be say you're running a bar, for example, might be just promoting a band, might be promoting a sports event or a sale, a launch of some new product or service. There's a whole bunch of things, but the name of the game is to actually get people either along to a certain event, obviously to purchase something, as it would be an option, or to sign up for some sort of some other option.
Yep.
Fair enough, Benny?
Go onto a money page, as we say.
Yeah, and Facebook is perfect for both of those. So let's just get into it. Okay, so the first thing we have to do when it actually comes to creating advertising for Facebook is to create a post, essentially, because most of your advertising on Facebook is actually a post. You're promoting, and we'll go into this, but you're generally promoting some form of content, whether that's an image or just a link. You're still trying to promote that content. So the first thing you have to do is create a post with really amazing content, or an excellent offer that people can't help but go ahead and take you up on it.
Yep. And problems. You need to think about problems there. So if target a specific problem. Hey, have you got this problem? This will fix it. Watch this video. Download this report. Go and have a look at this. Go and listen to this audio. So those are the sorts of things that you're looking for there. Most people are way too broad with their Facebook. They're just blasting any old stuff out. Buy this, do this, go here. Target something specific and work it for a couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so simple formula for a successful Facebook post. I just threw this together, and I think you're going to agree with this, Beanie. I don't know if you've even seen it, but the first thing you've got to do, it's basically an old sales formula, that the first thing you've got to do is get attention, and that's either through the headline, which on Facebook is the first line of your post, or a really strong image, which snaps people out of the general malaise that they just sort of cruising through Facebook feed and not really paying attention to anything. You really need to snap them out of that and grab their attention.
Yep, exactly. Headlines. The headlines are so important with everything, not just Facebook. Any advertising that you write, any time that you want to get someone's attention, you've got to have a good headline, and a really good way of doing that, because it's what's called a pattern interrupt. You really need to interrupt, like you're saying. They're cruising through looking at what's that, Candy Crush, or what's some of the other games on the Farmville or whatever it is. You got to snap them out of that and go, hey, you need to find out about this because this is your problem. So that pattern interrupt, asking them a question, is something that they're not used to. Instead of just broadcasting at them, ask them, try and draw them back towards you. That straight away stands out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was thinking a lot today, actually, before we did this, about images in particular, and the images that I've tested over the years, which are really odd. In fact, anyone that's on the call that came from some of our advertising would have seen some really strange images, which I've used. I've used everything from pictures of orangutans to arrows to logos to all sorts of things. And it's again, the great thing about Facebook is that you can just test all that sort of stuff, and sometimes you never know which one's going to win. And the focus of the image is really just to grab attention. See photos of stuff burning or people blowing stuff up, or again, they're purely there just to interrupt that pattern and get them out of the zombie-like state that they're in, cruising Facebook, and grab their attention.
That's it. Actually, we're going to use zombies somewhere along the line too, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, number two that's really important for a good Facebook post is actually to have a point to the post. Now that seems blazingly obvious, but you wouldn't be amazed. Probably anyone that's spent any time on Facebook can see the amount of stuff which just goes through the feed. There is no point, both personal and from businesses. So having something that you're trying to get across to people is actually really important. Otherwise, you're just wasting their time. No, they're on Facebook specifically to waste their time. That's why they're there. But you don't want to waste their time. You don't want to be the person that's in, or the business that's responsible for them wasting their time.
Exactly.
So the point can be teaching them something. It can be asking them to do something for you. It can be a whole bunch of things that the point can be, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be incredibly serious. It could just be, it might be just waste your time on this for all you are. It's something fun to do to break up your Friday before you go home, but you still need to have a point.
Yeah.
And thirdly, action, which again, direct response.
It's all right. If you don't know what you want them to do, there's no way in hell they're ever going to know what you want them to do. So that's a very good point, pun intended, that you must have a point to all your posts. Sorry, mate, I'll cut you off. Keep going.
Yeah, no problem at all. No, I do think this is really important. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a sales point. It can be just, learn this cool thing. I'm going to teach you 10 cool things. Here they are.
Yep.
Okay, finally, action. And like I said before, we're sort of direct response to the guys, but actually getting people to take some sort of action on your post is critically important. And that might just be a like, a comment, or a share. or again, it can be going back to before, as I was mentioning, it could be to register for an event or buy this thing, buy this stuff. You can. It's okay to sell stuff on Facebook, but preferably to people that already know and like you, and trust that what you buy is going to be good.
Big thing with comments. Now, I've been trying to do this. One of my favourite ways to get, or one of the best ways that there is to get highly targeted new likers to your Facebook page, is to go and comment on other pages. And I'm not just talking about, hi, I'm your newest liker. I'm talking about go and finding something where you can add some value, put your opinion out there, particularly if it's a little bit controversial, because I did this the other day, and I was again talking about Facebook promoted posts. And one comment that I made on someone else's page got me 23, 24 new likers, okay? And they're all highly targeted because it was talking directly about something that affects them, which was Facebook promoted posts. Now, I scroll through my feed every morning looking for opportunities like that. And the opportunities to find where someone's actually asked a question and tried to engage their audience, left the door open for someone to actually come and comment and to add their opinion, to add their bit to the conversation, are very slim. If you do that one thing, if you go and ask people's opinions and give them that opportunity to be able to express their opinion on your page, comments would go through the roof, because it's too many people just broadcasting all the time, as in, look at us, we've got this, come and buy hamburgers, come and buy beer, whatever it is. And they're not asking any questions about what's your favourite type of this, or what are you doing this weekend, or, if you can find a topic that's got a fair bit of emotion behind it, and then ask for someone's opinion on it and let them go, and your comments go through the roof. And particularly if you can go and find, if you could get 4 or 5 businesses together and use all open, ask those open-ended comments like that, and went around and commented on each other's pages, that'd be pretty powerful.
So if you use social media socially, you're saying that it works then, Benny?
Yeah, that's the one.
Imagine that.
Said what I said, 5 minutes and 3 words.
Good going, right? Okay, so as per usual, when we get online, Benny, we're talking too much, but let's just get into this and say, how are we going to use Facebook ads to reach your customers? For you, those of you out here listening, how are you going to actually reach your customers using Facebook ads? And we're going to go through and show you screenshots. Now, one caveat before we go through, we talked about this earlier, there's actually 2 different ways to set up ads on Facebook. And when I say 2 different ways, there's 2 slightly different looking. There's a thing called a Power Editor, which is relatively new from Facebook, which essentially has the same functionality. It has a little bit extra that you can do as far as going into the targeting sort of thing. We've gone with the standard one. So the Power Editor you only use on Google Chrome. All the other browsers you'll be using you're using the standard editor. So we've just gone with that one. If you're happy to be using Google Chrome and go into the Power Editor, then the concepts are all mainly the same. It just looks a little bit differently. Fair enough?
Yep.
Right, good as go. Just to get that out of the way. Okay, the first thing, so you want to start Facebook advertising. What's the first thing that everyone does? Is they go and click the nice blue Boost Post button at the bottom of the post, and that makes sense. It's put there nice and easily by Facebook, so you can just click it, a couple of clicks, and you can be actually advertising.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to suggest that you shouldn't bother using that. For 2 reasons. One, you shouldn't use it because, in my experience, it's probably one of the most expensive ways to advertise on Facebook. And secondly, I don't think the targeting options are there anywhere near as powerful as the ones you can use in the proper editor.
No.
Yeah,
what you can do within there, I'm inherently lazy, so I often use the Boost Post instead of going to do ads. Okay. What you can do is make a list in there, and you can have a certain interest set within the list. But yes, you're right. From if you want from a results perspective, far better off to go and do it as an ad. Yeah.
I have to admit, it's a lot better than it was.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot better than it was. And usually when I do it, it's like one of those posts that I was talking before. It's one of those posts where it's something that I want people to see and share. As in, it was the Jim Carrey video the other day, which is a brilliant video. And it was just a share like that. So that's the sort of circumstance I usually use that under.
Yeah, exactly. Fair enough. I don't use it much at all, to be honest. In fact, I don't think I've ever used it for myself. Okay, so what I suggest instead is to use the ad manager. So it's nice and simple. If you go to facebook.com/ads, or alternatively, if you see on this image here, if you go to your page and then click on the Build Audience button up the top, and then you can click on the Use Adverts Manager as an option, and that will take you to the ads, to the ad manager.
Yep. Pretty simple.
So that'll basically take you a page which is essentially this. It's got a little, obviously more stuff around the outside of it, but this is it. Unless it's possibly going to, I'll ask you later on. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember the first time I set it up. So I'll take it somewhere here. So there's, 8 different ways to actually advertise on Facebook. We're going to focus on essentially 2 of them, and most of the screenshots are actually from the page post engagement option. Other ones you can go are obviously clicks to website. Those work more or less the same. And obviously you can advertise specifically for page likes, which I personally don't recommend, because then you run into the same problem that sure you get more page likes, but only 10% of them are actually getting your post. Offer claims is one that I haven't actually used, because but that would probably be worth looking at as well. But it's not something that I need to use in our business. Oh, so you just choose which one you want to go for. Either page post engagement or clicks to a website are the two options to go for.
Yeah, definitely. Page, yep.
Okay, so all of these options, once you click on that, it'll ask you, so I'll just pop back here. Once you click on, say, page post engagement, it'll ask you for the page, and if you just have one business page, then it'll just give you that option. But if, like the rest of us, or some of us that have 3 or 4 or 7 or 8 or whatever it is, different pages that you look after, you just choose the one that you want, and then you can actually choose the post that you've made or create a new page, a new post. If you go for clicks to website, it'll just ask you to put the URL or the domain name from the website you want to send the clicks to. Yep. Simple as that. And then you get into into this next section. We've got some screenshots here that are essentially one long page, but the page is so long we can't show it in one screenshot. The important thing, now this is, in my opinion, probably the single most important thing that you can do when you're setting up your ad. Would you agree with that, Manny?
Oh, definitely, mate. Knowing who you want to drop your ad in front of is, it's the most important thing. You should sit down and work out who your ideal customers are that are already coming through your door, find out a bit about them, and then create your Facebook page to bring more of those people in. So you've got, I'll let you talk about geography, on not full noise on that one, but age group's pretty, that's no pun intended there. Age is pretty simple, whether you're targeting, it's no good trying to sell beer to teenage girls or whatever it may be. You need to know pretty much your age group of where your people are going to sit. Gender, from a marketing perspective, a lot of the time you're actually selling to females, so make most of the buying decisions. So, but again, if you've got a male-specific product, there's no point advertising it to females if the blokes are the only ones who are going to be buying it. So it's all about advertising smarter. Interest is a huge one. This is something we've looked into a lot just recently, isn't it? There's things that online, because Facebook knows much about people. They know the sorts of things that they're likely to buy, and if you start thinking about what else your market buys, and then you start putting your ads in front of those, that's pretty powerful as well, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredibly powerful. I think we'll spend a bit of time on each one of these actually, because they're each really, really important and really incredibly powerful. But one thing I want to mention before we start here is that all of the stuff, and this actually includes for everything from here on for the rest of this little webinar, I think that you should be testing all of this stuff. So my rule of thumb when it comes to defining the market, your market should be as specific as possible while still having enough people in it. And enough people really varies. I mean, for one person, enough people might be 250,000 people market that they're shooting for, and another business that might be 2,000 people might be plenty that they're advertising to. So, and again, we'll see some screenshots that make a bit more sense. But the more specific you can get, and then you can test it with another specific market, and you can see which one was the best or worked best for you. Sometimes, again, that will it'll surprise you, the results sometimes. But anyway, let's just jump into geography. Geography is pretty simple, really. If you own a bar in a specific location, only people from a certain area are going to come in to see you. So there's no point in advertising to people in Sydney if I've got a bar here in Blenheim. It's probably going to be a waste of time and money. So geography is really important, but it can be really powerful. And Facebook will let you get really, really granular about where people are, and obviously everyone. I won't go into all the details about how they know all this information about people, but generally, firstly, you tell them in your profile. Secondly, the stuff that you post, and thirdly, your IP address. So they know an awful lot about where you are. But you can literally say, I want to advertise for people that are within 20 kilometres to Blenheim or my bar or whatever it is. So you can get really, really granular. And of course, if you're doing something like, for example, our advertising was for Australia and New Zealand, and even specific cities when we're advertising for this particular presentation here. So you can get really, really granular on geography, and it's really powerful. You covered age and gender again. Pretty self-explanatory, I think, but test it. You might think that everybody buys, but in reality, it's actually 80% women who buy your product or service, or vice versa. Behaviours and interests are the really, really powerful ones, and you'll be amazed, and I'll show you shortly how you can get into those behaviours and interests in particular. You can target people on the other Facebook pages they like. So, for say, again, I'll just use a bar for an example. Say you could target people who live in your area who happen to like, what's a beer over there, Beanie? We'll say here.
150 lashes. James Squire, got 3 empty stubbies sitting in front of me.
Exactly. So you can choose one brand of beer or one brand of whiskey that people particularly like, and you can only focus on them to make them a specific offer to come to our bar and get half price. I was going to say Jack Daniels, but I really don't want to. But half price of this particular beer or this particular whiskey. So that's how targeted you can get.
Yeah.
And relationships again. This is crazy, but you can target people who have just got engaged, or people who are about to get married, or people who have just had a baby, or people that have 3 kids under the ages of 8. I mean, the targeting is amazing.
There's a post about that late last year sometime about how Target or Walmart or one of the big ones knew about women were going to be pregnant about 6 weeks before they actually become pregnant, simply off of the way that they update their feed.
Exactly. So just quickly looking at a screenshot of that choosing your audience, which is essentially targeting. So if you look at the top here, you've got locations. So that's where you can put in your country or your town or even your postcode, which is going to tell you exactly where people are. If you look over into the right-hand side, you've got the audience definition, and just underneath the bottom of that funny little graph is potential reach. So this one was for all of New Zealand, so that's one of the reasons I know that there's 2,600,000 people in New Zealand who are on Facebook, because I'm targeting all of them in this particular targeting.
Yep.
As you add or delete interests and changing ages and that sort of thing, this potential reach over on the right hand side will actually change live as you choose things. So that's how you can get a general idea about how many people your ad is going to be viewed by. It's not going to be shown to every single one of them. That's who it's potentially going to reach. And then the percentage of them that actually see it really varies depending on your budget and the time. Of course, some of those people might not log in for a week. Not most of them. Most of them log in every 15 minutes, it seems. but they won't. They won't all. So the rest of this page is actually reasonably self-explanatory, but just want to come down to the interest again. So interest is is really crazy. That you can target people specifically. And another example, if you have competition in your area or anywhere, you can target the fans of their Facebook page or people that like that particular person.
Yep.
Say Richard Branson, for example. Say we wanted to target all the people in New Zealand and or Australia who like Richard Branson because he's a likable guy. You just put Richard Branson into interest, and it will bring up everybody who likes Richard Branson. They might like his Facebook page. They might have posted something about him, but everyone that's had anything to do with him. That gives you a pretty broad range. Do you have any comments on the interests, Benny?
Look, spend time on it. Think about it. Go deeper on it. We've been spending quite a bit of time on this ourselves lately, in particular when who we're advertising for this particular webinar. Think about the hobbies. Think about what magazines they read. Think about what TV shows they watch. Think about what products they buy. Big hint there, what products they buy. Think about those sorts of things. Look, just how powerful it is, you just can't explain it. You know, there's nothing else like it. There has never been anything else like it. There'll be something better in the future because there always will be. But at the moment, it's just a massive opportunity to advertise directly, to know someone, what they spend their money on and what they actually like, and you basically get inside the head, can't you? You can understand what they're thinking and what's going on inside there, can't you?
Oh, exactly. I just want to give a quick example. I've got a friend of mine who runs a bar. Not one of the reasons I keep talking about bars, but here and just down the road in Renwick. They run a hunting competition every year. And I said, well, do you realise that you could advertise on Facebook to people, everyone within 30 kilometres of their bar, or 50 or whatever they've decided on, who has interest in hunting, or specifically pig hunting, or goat hunting, or whatever it was. And they would target only those people in the region. And you know, there's a much more relevant post that they're talking about the competition to them than to everybody that either likes their page or just happens to be in the Marlborough region.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
it's
how
like
powerful it is.
Walking around the houses in your street and knowing which one put the advertising in, isn't it? Knowing which ones, walking around the street and seeing all the utes with the huge spotlights on the top of them and going, oh, that's a hunter in there, so I'm going to poke an advert in his letterbox. It's the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, it would be nice to have houses that glow when you walk past and you want to sell them a specific thing, wouldn't it? This is as close as you're going to get.
That's not a bad idea. Maybe we could make an app that does that.
Exactly. So one more thing is you will also decide, if you look at the bottom of this area, behaviours are much the same, and I haven't used behaviours as much as the interests, but they're also really, really powerful.
Yeah.
And at the bottom of this of the screenshot, you've got connections, so you can choose. You know, I've did this on my full noise account. Sorry, that full noise page. So I can choose to advertise only to people connected to my page, or people who are not connected. So it ignores all the people who are already my fans and only reaches everyone else. And then there's advanced targeting, which I think I left off the slide. Ignore the advanced targeting. You've got enough.
Yeah. Look, once you get down to that point, you're starting to get a little bit more advanced, and you're going past the training that we're going to give you here tonight. This is about getting the idea into your head of how powerful this is, and start actually using the thing just with small tests, small, quick tests to see what happens.
Exactly. Okay, let's get into bidding, which is the important bit where we get to actually work out how we're going to pay for these things and how we work out how much we have to pay for these ads. And there's sort of 3 different ways that you can pay for your advertising, and they're all going to be slightly different depending on what the aim is or the goal of your advertising. Pretty much all of them are relatively cheap though, which is good. Mm-hmm. So the next box down after the one that we just showed you there is this. Is essentially where you choose where to bid. Now, firstly, you name your advert set, and you can select your yes, you can. So at the top here, you can set your budget per day. So as we said right at the start, in fact, in the title of this whole hangout, you can choose that budget per day can be $1, and that's all you spend. So what will happen is that Facebook will continue to show your ads to your target market until you reach your cutoff, which might be $1. In this case, it's $6, and it will just keep showing it until that budget's gone, and then they stop. And then the next day, it will start again until it gets to $1, and then it will stop. So you're never going to go over top of your maximum budget for any given day. And then below this it says scheduling. You can actually select a start and end date, and you might run that for one day. Could be a week. Could be a month, depending entirely on how it's going. And again, they'll come in and monitoring it and measuring the results and decide whether you start or stop it. You can always stop halfway through. So if you put it for a week, you can after 2 days you might go, oh, this is getting nowhere, and I've blown $2. Don't know what I'm going to do for my coffee tomorrow. Then you can just stop it, or you can find that you've got a better post that you'd rather switch to that one and promote that one instead.
Yep. Yeah, it's simple. Just it's quick click.
Exactly. They made it push button simple.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at the bottom, bidding and pricing, you have the choice to, again, like I showed in the last slide, you can choose whether you're bidding for post engagement, for bidding for clicks, or impressions. I'll show you all of them in just a moment, but they're all good for different things. I don't know which one you were talking about. You like bidding for impressions, don't you, Benny?
Look, if I'm running an ad, as in somewhere, send someone to a page, go here and report or whatever it might bid for clicks. If it's just purely on Benny's being lazy, it's a bid for impressions because I do it via Boost Post.
Exactly. So one thing which I think is really important, again, I keep saying this, but you've got to test, because I've tested the campaign on two different ad setups, and one was on clicks and one was impressions. And even though this particular one was actually just wanted as many people as possible to see this post, it worked out best to bid for clicks, because if you're bidding for clicks, you only pay every time someone obviously clicks your ad or your link.
Yeah. Well,
and because most people weren't clicking because it wasn't designed for them to actually click anything. Essentially, we got thousands and thousands of people seeing it for 20 or 30 cents or something, because it wasn't designed for anyone to click anything. So that Facebook just keeps showing it to people and showing it to more and more and more people without us having to actually pay anything for it, which is where, as I mentioned earlier on, Facebook can be a really valid option for branding, because you're not paying anything until people actually see it, for clicks, that is.
Yeah. Look, if you're being lazy, they know you're being lazy and they'd be lazy. So when you pay for impressions, they just go, oh, yeah, flick it out to whoever. But when they've got to get paid, as in clicks and conversions to websites, they're a little bit more, well, this is the way it seems to roll anyway, they're a little bit more fussy about who they actually show it to. So definitely, the more time that you put into it, the better you'll go. And I'll agree 100% with you. With the website clicks, is to set up and go to website clicks, you'll get a lot better results.
Exactly.
From my experience.
Right. So we've got onto the bidding for impressions. So bidding impressions is, they call it CPM, or they've changed the name over time. But you're bidding a certain amount of money for 1,000 impressions. Now, I want to be clear that impression isn't actually one person. If you have, in this case, it's 1,000 impressions. If you had 350 people and they all saw it 2.9 times each, then that's 1,000 impressions. So you're not necessarily showing to all 1,000 of those people. And it depends. Sometimes I've had campaigns where people have seen it 5 or 6 times, the same ad, but then I've had the campaigns where people have only seen it sort of on average 1.5 times. So it really depends a little bit on your budget and the size of your market.
Yep, definitely.
But as you can see, there 19 cents for 1,000 people to see your ad. Sorry, it's 1,000 people. I just made a mistake again, didn't I? For 1,000 impressions is actually pretty cheap. It's really cheap. And it says at the bottom here it's got suggested bid. And in this case, it's 5 cents to 34 cents and this New Zealand dollar, so that's about 2 Australian cents, I think, isn't it? Isn't it, Benny?
1.2.
Yeah, exactly.
Now let's put this
They
into perspective here, okay? Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's put
So
this in a little bit of perspective. We're talking about a newspaper before that maybe got, what we say, 18,000. They claim that they have 18,000 readers. That just means that they throw 18,000 newspapers out. Right? So you pay 150, 250 bucks for an ad in there. So what are you talking there? 20 cents for 1,000 impressions. So for $10, for 10,000 people, you get $2. You got 10,000 impressions going off that one there. You know. So you really got to look at price-wise here between the two. The newspaper with their supposed 18,000 people, which is going to cost you a minimum. I haven't seen much ads under 150 bucks. As opposed to you could spend $10, $20 here on Facebook and get the same thing.
Exactly. Right, bidding for clicks. It's the same deal, but you're again, you're just paying for the number of people who are actually clicking on your ad. Now, this screenshot I've got here is actually pretty high, to be honest. The suggested bid, if you look at the bottom, it's set up for $1.30, and I don't know why I even grabbed the screenshot because it's really not typical. The suggested bid is 85 cents to $1.67, again, New Zealand dollars, so that's also about 4 Australian cents. But in this case, that's actually really high. In most cases, and I haven't taken a proper average, but you're probably looking at about 20 to 40 cents a click on average. And even...
bid more than 30.
Sorry, what was that?
I never bid more than 30.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, I don't mind bidding so much because I find that often, even if you bid... In fact, I have definitely done this where I bid $2 just to make sure that I'm at the top of on top of the queue, and it still only cost me about 25 cents per click. So you don't pay the maximum that you bid; you pay basically just above what everyone else is willing to bid.
Yeah, that's a very important point. Actually, yeah, it's you just go to the top of the tree. You can bid $20 if you like, and you might still not that we suggest you bid $20, but you may still only pay 25, 30 cents a click.
But again, it's important to think, I mean, you're not going to get, of those 1,000 impressions, sort of relating this to the bidding for impressions, of those 1,000 impressions, you're not going to get many clicks in those. In fact, it might take you 2,000 impressions before you get one click, depending on how good your targeting's been and how good your offer is, or how compelling it is for people to actually look at your post. So again, you really need to test it. But the important thing is that if you have some idea about how much a click is going to be worth to you, and you have to sort of work that out yourself, really. But then you can say, well, look, I'm selling a product which is $100. And I think if I get X number of clicks, then I'm likely to get a sale out of it. Then you can just do the maths and work out what it's worth. And again, it doesn't matter which way you do any of these. I would recommend you have you do a test campaign first, and you might only start for $10, or just stick with it with the $1 a day for a couple of days and sort of see just till you get a feeling of it, because then it's not costing you anything. Well, it's costing you $2, but like I said, if you can't spend a couple of bucks here or there, you've got bigger issues.
Yep. But let's put in perspective. There's some big marketers online, and Andy Jenkins might feel same. You might have heard from him, you might not. They run thousands of dollars a month through Facebook. They do a test first before they do anything else, and their test price is $50. That's all they spend to start off with. They spend $50 on a test. The $50 test works and it pays off, then they go to $500. Then they amp it up a bit more and a bit more. But start small. Fail. Mel Emery says, fail fast and fail quick. Fail cheap and fail quick.
Exactly. Well, sorry. Right. Okay. So that's essentially the bidding, and that's all there is to it. Once you go from there, it's pretty simple. And there's a little green button which I've somehow deleted the slide, which showed you where you go from there. And if it's the first time, obviously you're going to have to set up your credit card for Facebook to be able to bill you. They do like to take your money, so you need to go through that process as well. But even they make that pretty slick. you barely notice you've even done it.
Barely feel the pain.
But exactly. But once you've set up that the first time, you're up and running, and you can continue to run ads from then on. You don't have to go through that step anymore. The one really powerful thing, which I haven't got a slide to demonstrate, actually, it's a little bit too difficult, but once you've set up your first ad, it will actually give you the option to add extra photos. So, as I mentioned before, how images are really important. If you're running a sidebar ad, rather, sorry, not your engagement promoted post option, you can run up to, I think it's six different images that you can run for your ad. And again, that's perfect for testing. So all you do is you just run all the same ad with a different image, and then you can run all the same ads again with a different headline or with a different body text.
Yep.
The great thing about that, it doesn't cost you anything extra. All that Facebook does is it just keeps serving up the ads in line, and then as one of them become more successful, that'll actually sort of show that ad more often.
Yep.
So there's no extra effort for you other than just set up a few extra ads, which you can just essentially clone the main ad. So for the sake of a few extra minutes, you're testing and you're getting an idea about what's working and what's not working. And I'd highly recommend everyone try that. But even if you just want to run one ad first by itself and sort of get a feel for the system and how it all works, by all means go ahead and do that.
And if you don't have images, they've actually pull them through Shutterstock, so you can actually, there's pretty good images in there actually, and it costs you actually nothing.
I haven't actually used any of those, to be honest, Benny, so that's good to know.
Yep, there's some crackers in there, right? There's some really good stuff in there.
Excellent. So I just grabbed a couple of these options just as examples, just before we started, really, just to show some options. So these are the ads that you'll see down the right-hand side. I'm sure anyone that's been on Facebook has seen an ad or two in your time. But there are sort of different formats. So this one in particular, obviously, again, these New Zealand folks, obviously you've got Air New Zealand here, but these ones I wouldn't mind betting. These are basically branding ads, especially the one with a big Coro, the Air New Zealand Coro on it. Yep. Everyone's going to recognise that. Even if you never click that ad, it doesn't cost them a single cent, but you've seen it again, and I've seen this ad hundreds of times in the last month. So this is the perfect example of branding, essentially, on Facebook. It's costing them nothing unless you click on it. This is a larger format ad, which is somehow skew-off, and it's gone over top of the thing. But anyway, this is a larger format ad, and it's going to show you the... So this was probably a post that someone's actually made, and then they've just promoted it inside the main feed.
Mm-hmm.
Something we haven't really gone into because it gets a bit complicated, but it gives you the ability to like the page directly from the ad, and obviously you can engage with it just the same as you would any other post. So you can like it and share it and comment it and do all that sort of stuff. This was actually a link, so if you click on it, it will also take you away to the website itself.
Yep.
I've never seen this one before. I just happened to notice it.
That's actually a reasonably good ad too.
It is, and again,
this one I like. This is a good ad.
Again, money. Who's not going to get their attention grabbed by $100 note? So it's going to grab people's attention. It's got a really good headline at the bottom here. All we need is $100 to start trading up to $40,000. That's pretty interesting for people that are like money.
Anyone that's interested in trading. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I was showing these ads off for them for free, Benny. I just thought about that. Again, this is just a post that they put on, and again, if you click on this, it'll take you off to their website, and they have a little bit of body copy of the stuff. I couldn't find one, unfortunately, which was just a promoted post, or essentially the same as a promoted post, where it was just one big long post, essentially a text post. I did my best, but I couldn't find it. But they can actually be quite effective because it's not what you generally see. Normally, you're just seeing all this dumb stuff go through your feed, but if it's just a block of text, they do stand out. Normally they wouldn't stand out, but on Facebook they do these days.
Certainly do.
Exactly, right, I was just reading the comments, sorry. I'd take that trade as well.
I've been looking.
$100 for 40,000.
I'll take that trade. That's my young bloke.
Good stuff. Righto, Benny. You want to jump into this bit?
Alright. this is a bit of a case study that I won't tell you who it was because it's someone that I was talking to on the weekend. And the question is, what worked better, a $900 magazine ad or a free Facebook post, okay? So this magazine was not just a little local magazine. In fact, if I told you the name of it, you would go, yep, I know that magazine. It's front and center of all the news agents that you'd walk into in Australia, and I'm sure you would have something very similar over there as well.
We do have magazines.
This person, yeah. That'll be $900 there, so it'll be $43,000 over there. Anyway, $900 was for the ad that he took out in this magazine. I said, I reckon I can do better than that with a free Facebook post. If you swap back to me now, am I back in control, am I?
Oh, no, here we go. Just give me a knob and I'll flick.
All right.
I'll flick it over.
So, what I did on his Facebook page is he'd created a free report which addressed a lot of people's concerns. And Brendon Burchard talks about 6 reasons people don't actually buy from you. One of them is that they don't believe they have the time to do what you're telling them to do. So time is an issue with this particular product that he was trying to sell. So I grabbed a video, we created a video that was address that specific problem, which was time. Created a Facebook post that basically said, do you think you don't have the time to do X? Well, let me prove to you that you do, because it's going to save you thousands of dollars. You do have the time. Watch this video. Put the video there. Inside the video, it went through why the person has the time, because they're already doing 90% of the work. So you've only got to do a little bit more, and you're going to make yourself X amount of dollars at the end of it, okay? At the end of the video, it said, if you like this video, you're going to love this. Head across and get some more information, which was go across and sign up. You can flick across to the next one, mate, which was go across and flick up, sign up to his email list, basically, which was to get the other 7 videos in the part of the series. So he ran his magazine ad, which was run before I spoke to him, and he didn't get a thing from it, nothing. And it wasn't the best ad. It could have been better done, but there was a call to action in there. There was a link to his website. It was targeted. It was in the right sort of magazine. There was enough in there that you would have thought you'll get traffic from it. And he said, I didn't get a damn thing out of it, Benny. Nothing at all. That Facebook post that I'm just talking about before, he rang me the next morning and said, what did you do last night? He said, normally gets 1 email opt-in a day. He said, I've had 4 overnight. And I went and looked at the click-through from there to the lead pages, and sure enough, that's where they'd come from Facebook through the lead pages. So with the post, I didn't even promote it. I didn't even do my lazy beanie thing of putting $1 on it. For nothing, a post that was, but it was, you know, it was highly targeted. It spoke directly to a problem, and it gave people a call to action. A free post outdid a $900 ad. And I could have saved him that $900 if he had spoken to me about it first before he run it. He keeps saying to me, don't keep mentioning it. You're just going to make me cry. Anyway.
So the one thing about that, Benny, that I take away is that, and actually this goes for all of, you know, that we the premise of this whole thing is about advertising for $1 a day, which is as I think we've already shown, is totally possible and viable to actually reach your target market. But the one thing I really want to emphasize is that you don't have to stick to $1 a day. So this example you've shown, Benny, first thing you can do is you can chuck this on and advertise a bit more for $1 a day, you know, and you can send that out to another 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 people, depending on what it costs you for that particular to promote that particular post. And then if it continues to work, you can just quickly jump that up and say, well, we're going to start spending $5 a day or $10 a day or $20 a day, as long as the market's big enough. That fair enough?
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
So the point is,
sorry,
you're not stuck on $1 a day. If you want to spend $50 a day, spend $50 a day, but test it at $1 first. Is the point that I want to get across. Yep.
The other thing is, but I can do 900 tests at $1 a piece on Facebook. 900 different ads if I want to, and they'll run for you know, how long would it take me to run 900 posts out? It's going to take me quite a while, isn't it? That $900 is for one ad for 1 month. That's it. So once the magazine's used its use-by date, she's gone. And if something doesn't quite work, which he didn't really have it specific enough to say, hey, have you got this problem? Go here and download this free report. You can't change it. Money's gone. So, you know, when we get that right with $1 a day, and we've already got a reasonable start there already, as in we've thrown a post up for nothing and that's worked, you know, how can you compare the two? You just can't. You cannot compare the two.
One last point from that is that that's a perfect example, is that you can actually do nothing and not do any advertising. But when you do find that you've got a post which is starting to strike a chord with people, then you can go ahead and start from there and start promoting that particular post again and boosting that, getting more people seeing it, and see if it continues to show or pay dividends rather.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't even have to put the money on it first. It's like, wait, throw the post up and see if there's a reaction. Do you get a like? Do you get a comment? Do you get a share? Wait until you get a couple of those, and then put some money on it if you're really worried about the dollar.
Exactly, right.
All right, we'll keep moving.
Oops, sorry, on the wrong page, my bad. There we go. Okay,
so, if you like this training so far, you probably heard me say this just a minute ago, and this is a way that you make a pitch. You do the same thing on Facebook and all of your marketing. This is a way that you transition people into, how's this for transparency in marketing? This is a way you transition people into saying, hey, go and have a look at this and consider doing this because it's going to be a lot better for you. So if you like this training, then you will love this, okay? We're going to do this type of training every month. And the focus is going to be exactly what we spoke about tonight, which is driving down your advertising costs while boosting your sales. It's not going to be anything hard to do. It's going to be the same stuff as what we taught you tonight. Simple strategies like using $1 a day on Facebook promoted posts. It's going to be done inside what's called a membership site, which is going to be part of our Potent Marketing podcast we're launching at the moment. We used to do local social business shows, now the Potent Marketing podcast, a lot better name. It's paid training, and it's paid for a reason, and that's because when people pay, they pay attention. The worry that we have when we run training like this, and it's free, is that people haven't got any buy-in, they don't take it away and use it. And please, if you've been on here tonight and you know this stuff, I mean, you're thinking about, hey, I should do this, I should use this stuff, you should definitely use it. Take it away and use it straight away. If you know anyone else that could use it, send it to them, show them as well. Because what's the risk? $1 to $2, $1 a day to go. I mean, everyone has a coffee every day, don't they? I don't know anyone that doesn't drink a coffee. You can simply stop drinking your coffee and spend the money on your Facebook advertising. So normally, it will be, well, it's going to be $497 for 6 months membership. There is no questions about that. We are going to set it at that price. That's an absolute bargain at that price. But we've got to set a steak knives to throw in tonight as well. So what we're going to do instead, tonight only, and this will be tonight only. I don't do tonight only if it's not tonight only. This is it. So if you're on here tonight and you see this or you see the replay, we'll give the people on the replay, I'll shoot the replay out, hopefully if it's recorded all right tomorrow morning. We'll give them a couple of hours to go and hook up. But if you're on here live tonight, I'm going to take this page down in an hour and I'll put it back up again for a little while once I shoot the replay message out tomorrow. You can go, as I say, as it says there, if I don't do it that way, if I don't stick to, you will only see it at these times, pull me up, I'll give you a free lifetime membership inside the site. We're going to do a deal where it's $19 per month for as long as you stay a member. As I said, it's up for an hour after this training tonight, and how we're going to work that with the, I'll broadcast a replay out tomorrow, and I'll leave it up for 2 hours after the replay goes out to give everyone a chance to jump on it. That's it. You got anything
Right.
else to add to that, mate? I better put the link in, I suppose, so people can go across and get it. I'll just grab the link now, and I'll shoot that link into the chat roll. So you simply go across there. How about I read the copy that's on that page? That'll give everyone a real quick idea of what's on there. So the headline is, let us bury the bad marketing advice that is costing you time, money, and your will to live. That is Alistair's, and it is copyrighted. That's going on his headstone, that one. His gravestone. What you ought to know about brand-based advertising. The potent marketing podcast community is all about sharing with you simple, smart, effective marketing strategies that will drive down your advertising costs while boosting your sales. Now, you may be thinking, being in Alistair, you run a free podcast, so why are you charging for this? Number one, it's personal. You get to talk with us live at least once a month. Number two, when people pay, they pay attention. We only want people ready to take action inside this community. Number three, we have families to feed. Yeah, it's terrible, we know, but we do make a living out teaching people how to better market their business. Long story short, we want you to pay attention and get results. In fact, if you're really paying attention, you should make back your investment for joining the community before you even finish your first month. Membership to the community is going up to $4.97 for 6 months, which, if you pay attention, is an absolute bargain. On this page right now, it means you've been through the live training. You're entitled to that special price of $19 per month. That remains locked in for as long as you stay a member. You can leave at any time that you like. In fact, this is our ironclad guarantee. Any time during the first 30 days you decide that it's not for you, you simply email us and tell us, you bail out, and we give you $19 back. What you get is live monthly training with marketing strategies that you can use immediately to make more money. Live Q&A at the end of each training session. If you've got a particular problem, you bring it along and we help you find a solution to it. You get access to us via a private Facebook group where you can ask us for advice on any of your marketing. Like, oh mate, with this $900 ad, got to ask us first, what do you think of this ad, fellas, and should I put it in here? Could have saved him a fortune. He could have paid for about 5 years worth of membership with that one ad. So take a look inside the community, simply click on the PayPal button below, pay $19 for your first month's membership, and you get immediate access. It's pretty simple. On that, inside that page, I've actually set it up so you can get your money's worth back straight away. There's a little thank you video there. Then you download a 10-minute sample marketing plan, which will immediately point out any problems that you got within your marketing you can start looking at. And then there's another video on there that will also step you through what Alistair calls cheap marketing opportunities, which are just like that $900 cheap marketing opportunity right there.
Exactly. All right, thanks, Benny. That's all good. I really want to, firstly, the important thing about that, about the membership side there, is that it's something that, well, firstly, Beanie especially, and even I really aren't all that technical. It's so easy with all the stuff to get totally bogged down with all the technical stuff and the how-to and the why-to and that sort of thing. We want to strip all that away. Hopefully, it's like we have tonight with this training. We've taken away all the stuff and all the stuff that can really bog you down and stop you, basically freeze you and make sure you do nothing. We're going to strip all that away, and hopefully we're going to carry on and do similar training to this, or maybe even shorter and simpler on certain things, and make it so it's just step by step. Do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get the result at the end. That's the way that we want to run it. We don't want to be, first you've got to do this, and then you've got to learn that, and then you've got to do the square root of 59, and then you've got to stand on your head and do all this other stuff, which is what it feels like sometimes, even for me, who actually knows quite a lot about coding and the internet, spent enough time on it over the years. We want to strip all that away and actually get you working and getting stuff done and making money out of it for your business.
Exactly. Yep. I don't do complicated. I'm not smart enough to. But I keep it simple.
Exactly.
Simple.
I didn't mean you're not smart enough. Sorry, it wasn't what I was meaning. Okay, so again, I mean, hey, look, if this isn't for you, that's totally cool too. What I want you to do though is I want you to go away with what we've shown you tonight, or doing this thing, and actually use it. Go out and run your first campaign. Even if you just go and just take whatever the last post that you did and promote that for $1, just to see how the mechanics and the nuts and bolts actually work, you'll find that it's much simpler than you thought, and you're up and running. But I just saw just before we started, Ben, I saw an ad from one of those case studies I gave about the guy that runs a bar here locally. They were promoting a roast of the day special on Facebook ads, and I can guarantee they were running at the $1 a day deal.
Awesome.
And I saw it because I targeted it locally, so they're out there using it, which is what I love. I'd much rather people are doing that than doing nothing and not getting anywhere, or worse, going and spending hundreds of dollars and stuff. Don't get me wrong, I'm not actually totally anti-traditional advertising mediums like newspapers and radios, but there's just such low risk when it comes to online marketing now. Once you know how to put all the pieces together, like hopefully we've shown you, you just need to get out there and do it. 1, 2, 3, get the thing running. Doesn't work, it's cost you $1, maybe $2 if you run it 2 days. Run another one, then have a day off. You miss your lunchtime coffee the next day. Try it again.
That's it. I've got a question in there, mate.
Yeah.
Other than Facebook, what are some good ways to spread your marketing message? So give us your best one.
Well, that's classified. Other than Facebook, so I'm going to go with online because I like it online. But the one thing which is just coming out now, and I've just been watching it, but there's some similar strategies you can use that we've talked about tonight on YouTube, as far as the sort of the $1 a day and promoting content. The downside is, or the thing that scares a lot of people, is that you then actually have to produce a video, and that can be a big stumbling block. But again, similar to this strategy, just doing the same thing on YouTube. Anyone that's been on YouTube in the last 6 months probably has been seeing YouTube ads. They become more and more prevalent, and the results that I'm seeing is that that's really, really powerful strategy as well for certain markets. So that would be another option.
Funny you should mention that. I'm just looking at the moment. Lad that I just V-Roll's the name of the company, and it's Gideon Shalwick's got a interest in it, and I'm going to do after I do his first Facebook page, I'm doing their one next. And it's all about YouTube videos, video advertising. Mm-hmm. So check that one out. Have a look. I haven't even had a chance to have a look myself yet.
Yeah, you mentioned that to me. It looks really, really powerful, that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
The next one, probably the nuts and... Sorry.
You go.
Sorry, going back to the nuts and bolts basics of marketing, and again, we mentioned earlier on, we're both sort of direct response guys rather than just branding sort of thing. But for me, it doesn't matter which way you do this, but to trying to build a list of people who are interested in the things that you're talking about, or your subject or product or services. That's the key to any marketing, really, in my opinion. And if you can build them on an email list, or even a list of names that you can send snail mail to, postcards or anything, that's probably the most important thing you can do, because then you can continue building that relationship with people.
Yep, and that ties in with my suggestion, which is to get an email list, you've got to have a reason for people to come and be on your email list. And these Google Hangouts, man, if leave a local business, use these, and you don't have to sit on, well, we've been on here, hour and a bit or something, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Don't need to be anywhere near that long. You get a new product in, so you're the local, let's use Tackle Shop because that's what I like. Local Tackle Shop's got some new lures in. Oh, mate, stands in there. Have a look at these new lures. They do this, that, the other. This is how you tie a knot. And if you want to buy 10 of them for a pack and get a 20% discount, head over to this web page over here and buy them right now. You know, a local tackle shop could have 10, 20, 30, 50 people sitting on there and doing a quick sale from there once a week, you know, and make enough money to pay for his Facebook ads.
Exactly. Paying for themselves at that point.
Yeah, Google Hangouts, and it's super simple to do. We had a few technical issues tonight, but we still managed to get past it. And
my whole computer crashing didn't help.
Yeah, that never helps. Don't worry about that. But, you know, if you can get past that, once you've done the first, once we've done a couple of these, it's just like second nature, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, and just going back to what you were saying before, as far as another case study, I just thought of was one that we did for a local strawberry place that I used to actually run years ago. But for the sake, I think we spent something like $30 on Facebook ads, so it was more than your dollar a day. But it was over
Yep.
4 days, I think, so it was probably only about $8 a day. And we ran that, just blasted out to say season starting, come and see us. And that doing no other marketing whatsoever, nothing, not even an email drop. We had I think the sales for the first day was sort of $600 from a $30 ad. In fact, that would have been after the first day, so that would have been after the $8 that had been spent, and then it just continued to build from there. So, I was never going to use that case study because I found that strawberries are too easy because it's something that everybody wants, which is true, but that's kind of a really important thing to think about when it comes to advertising in general. If you've got something that people really, really want, you can't lose with the advertising. And if you don't, you should find something that people really, really, really want, or at least find the people who really, really, really want what you've got.
Exactly. And that's what your page should be about, isn't it? If on the one thing that people are fanatical about that they want to buy within your business, and make your page about that.
Exactly. Hey, we've got one more question here about what's your preferred social media platform? Take that one, Benny. I've got two answers for
it. It's got to be YouTube.
YouTube?
Spend the majority. Yeah. Probably spend the majority of my time on Facebook. As I say, Twitter, I'll always have a bit of a connection with because that was what I started out on. But I'd say my most favourite platform is definitely YouTube.
Nice. So I've got two answers, and maybe this is telling. I'm not too sure, but so my favourite social media platform personally to actually use as far as consuming content and posting sort of personal stuff, interesting things, is actually Google Plus, which no one will believe me and no one will go on it, and that's fine. Although I did a post the other day, just a personal post, and it got last count, it was about 134 plus ones, which is like a like, and something like 14 or 15 comments, maybe it was 13, somewhere around there. For somewhere that's supposedly a ghost town, that's not bad. I would have thought 134
that's all right.
people were liking something. So I really, really enjoy it, mainly because that's straight up for interest rather than people. So I have circles over there which are all sailors because I'm into sailing, or people that are either into talking about things going on in New Zealand, or people that are talking about marketing, for example. And I can talk. I have these groups of people who talk about certain topics or things that interest me, which is different to something like Facebook, which is, although technically you can do that, nobody does. And Facebook is just more about people that you have known in the past and more personal news, I guess. Yep. But again, for when it comes to actually marketing, though, I think I'd have to stick with Facebook. I think Facebook as a marketing platform is still, especially for advertising, is the number one place to go. Maybe for posting stuff, maybe you're right with YouTube when it comes to just posting content without advertising on it. But again, I think Facebook is probably still front runner.
Yeah, definitely. Look, YouTube for me is because video is my thing. That's what I like doing. That's what the content I like creating. From a marketing perspective, you cannot beat Facebook.
No, absolutely. Just because of that. I mean, you got, like we mentioned or alluded to before, you've got a lot of those powerful tools on YouTube for marketing as well, as far as targeting people and that sort of thing. But again, Facebook still seems to be winning. That said, YouTube is super powerful because it's a social network. It's also a just chocker full of content. People are spending hours and hours and hours on it. And thirdly, it's the second biggest search engine in the world.
Yep.
So it's actually three things rather than just one thing. I mean, we've talked about it before, Benny, on our old podcast, but Facebook's still, unfortunately, absolutely terrible for searching.
Searching
for content, yeah.
Dreadful.
Even trying to find your own post that you wanted, is terrible.
I've got my own pages, right? I go from one page to the other, and I'm being the social trader trying to pull up potent marketing or something like that, and I won't show. And it's like, you're serious? This is my page, linked to my profile, and I've liked it, and you still can't find it for me.
Exactly, absolutely crazy. But anyway, that's could rant on about that for a wee while. But YouTube ticks all those boxes, and it's super powerful. The downside for most people is that they're sort of a little bit too wary about getting behind the camera or creating some sort of video. Mind you, you'll notice that neither of us have been on, apart from the first bits where we're flicking between cameras, neither of us have actually been on the camera today during this hangout, which we could easily have done.
Yep. That'll have to be one of our training sessions down the track.
Exactly. Good as gold. All right, Benny, have we got anything else that we want to cover? I think we've answered those main questions that we had. Again, I'd just like to encourage everyone to actually go out and use the stuff.
Yep. And if you're sitting on the Potent Marketing page there's a Google Plus button, Facebook like, a tweet. If you share it or send a link to someone that you know, only people that you know that would get something out of it, don't you just annoying everyone with it. But if you've got people that you know that want to hear this type of content, want to learn how to market their business more effectively, if you could share that with them, that would be really appreciated as well.
Exactly, and hey, if you have really enjoyed this and you think it's for you and this sort of stuff could be really helpful for you in the future, definitely jump over and have a look at the membership site. We've got more coming our way. We're going to do some more and some hangouts. We've got a whole bunch of really interesting stuff, and most importantly, really usable. Well, we think is usable, totally usable content that you can go out and actually use straight away. And
we use it.
Yeah, exactly. And start leveraging some of this technology without being sort of frightened of it. So,
yeah.
If it's for you, go ahead and have a look.
Cool. I'll just do one last check of that. No, we're good on the questions. All right, mate. We'll call it the night there then.
Good to go. Thanks everybody for coming along and listening. Went a bit longer than I was expecting, but that's good. Hopefully there's more info there for you.
Yep. Cool.
Excellent.
All right, mate. Speak soon.
Thanks, Manny.